This is the testimony that we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to see Brendan Paul come forward to the front of the congregation and tell us why he got one immunity before this, before he testified, and also how you were able to get off of a federal case for being caught on a plane with drugs and being accused of being Diddy's drug mule, his trafficker or his mule, the guy that was doing the work for him. And I'm going to go give you guys a recap in a second about who this guy is, how we found out about this guy, and everything in between. And there's some new updates on Diddy's trial. I'm going to give you guys the live updates on this live stream as well. But this is one of the testimonies. For me personally, this is one of the two testimonies I've been waiting to see. Brendan Paul is one. Christina Karam is the second one in Diddy's trial. It seems like the feds were saving, some of the more important. I'm not going to say that anybody's testimony wasn't important, but these two, I believe that they're being saved for last. And I said it. I told you guys before. We did a video when they announced that the victims were going to be coming to court and that they had some star witnesses. I told you, I think this guy was one of them, if you remember that live stream. And it seems like we were correct. So salute to everybody in the chat. As we get started, we're going to go through this information. I'm going to show you guys what he testified to. He got immunity. He pled the Fifth Amendment. He got his immunity order, so he did give a testimony, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you guys some audio that we got from Cassie, where she was on tape threatening to kill somebody on behalf of or because of this freak-off situation. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to get to some of the other details, some of the other interesting things around this thing. As we get started with this live stream, you guys know the rules of the room. Keep it respectful in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, you're not going to be able to be in the chat. It's subscribers only chat on this channel. This is live, and we're gonna go through these things one by one. So just be patient. If you want to, if you come in late, watch the playback and catch up on it, or rewind it, or whatever you got to do to catch up on wherever we are currently. Make sure we keep the likes up. If you in here, hit that like button as we get started. Let's keep the likes up as we go through the live to 50% of the people in the room. If 100 people watching, 50 people hit that like button. It helps the channel grow, and it's the least you could do, because I'll bring a lot of good information over here. I don't ask you guys for nothing. We always start every live stream with a prayer, so we're going to start that way today. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you grateful, humble, and thankful, God, for another day, the ability in our limbs, the soundness of our mind. God, I ask that you bless everybody that's listening to me. I ask that you let this information not just be entertaining, but also educational and informative for people out there that's listening, that we may be able to take something from this and apply it to our everyday life to better our lives, God. We thank you for every gift that we opened today that we didn't even conscious of, God. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I think that this testimony, I haven't seen anything, I haven't read anything, but I'm kind of excited to see, just because I'm just curious. I'm just curious. What is this guy gonna say? So let me give you guys a little bit of a backstory on who Brendan Paul is. This is Diddy's alleged drug mule. This is the guy when Diddy's houses were first being raided, and that story broke, and everybody was like, Diddy's on a jet, he's running. You guys remember that about a year ago, a little less than a year ago? This is the guy that the feds, at the same time, the same exact minute that they ran in Diddy's houses, all at the same time in Miami, New York, LA, this guy was trying to get on a jet and run. And I guess he got caught with some drugs while trying to get on the plane. And this big story came out that this was Diddy's drug mule. Oh, Diddy's drug mule just got caught at the airport. He was on a plane. He was trying to run. They arrested him. So this was last March. So I guess he had cocaine and marijuana on the plane, and he was trying to get one last deal in, or I don't know what he was doing. But the feds caught him, right? And shortly after that, everybody was just kind of going through it like, what happened with this dude? What's up with Diddy's drug mule? Is he going to testify? And shortly after, we had heard of this report that all the charges against Brendan Paul had been dropped. And everybody go, how could these charges be dropped? That's a federal crime. You caught him in the airport on a plane with cocaine. The feds sent Homeland Security to arrest you. In what world does Homeland Security and the feds utilize all these resources to go arrest somebody just to give them probation and dropped the charges. So right there, everybody was like, oh, he got to be testifying. He got to be testifying against Diddy, right? So the article back then said charges against Brendan Paul were dropped. And this is Diddy's alleged drug mule, according to the article. It says Brendan Paul's attorney, Brian Bieber, confirmed that, quote, Mr. Paul's case was formally dismissed today in its entirety. Paul had previously entered a plea deal for the arrest for cocaine and marijuana possession. It said, this is a quote from his lawyer, Brendan accepted the prosecutor's offer to permit his entry into the diversion program, which after completion, the case against him will be dismissed in its entirety. So he got a program for federal drug trafficking. Everybody thought that was crazy. Even his bail, when at the time his bail was like $2,500 and he was bailed out right away. So if there was no indication that he was going to snitch or testify against somebody, that was it right there. Right. And so that's kind of how his story played out. Now, I guess this guy is a former basketball player at Syracuse University. I don't know how he exactly became Diddy's drug mule, but this former producer that had a lawsuit against Diddy also claimed that Brendan Paul was the mule who acquired and distributed drugs and guns for Diddy. So this guy was brought up in one of the lawsuits that Diddy had faced earlier that year. And so, you know, people, and to be honest with you, that one of those lawsuits, it was the Little Rod lawsuit. That dude had a lot of information that came out to be true in his lawsuit. I don't know what ended up happening with that. I didn't do the research to figure out what ended up happening with his lawsuit. I'm wondering if he won that, but a lot of the things that he said in his lawsuit turned out to be true. So that's who Brendan Paul is. Now you guys kind of got the backstory of why this dude is kind of polarizing for this case. And he showed up at court today. This is him, ready to testify with the snitch glasses on. Bro got his snitch glasses on. He ready to tell everything. Let me get my water in my cup, man. Because this is about to be entertaining and interesting. Hey, man, what's done in the dark always come to the light, right? My grandma used to say, God rest her soul, what don't come out in the wash, come out in the rinse. Man, some of these people, they was all with it. And then did he get caught? And they go, it was all him. You know, and that's the crazy thing. People go, why is this RICO? How could this RICO be happening? Why is this RICO happening? How is this possible? Diddy's the only one in the RICO? How is that possible? It's because everybody else snitching. All the little fish telling on the big fish. So he wouldn't be in the RICO by himself if all these people weren't telling, which we're going to get into in a second. I had a lawyer that broke it all down, why it's a RICO and different things like that. But, you know, that's the main thing. Everybody is taking immunity. These dudes have taken immunity. Diddy has been testified. It's like 6 of his assistants, former assistants or employees have testified against him. They all got immunity right before. Like, get on the stand. Hey, I want immunity before I say anything. And the judge is giving it to him. So that's why Diddy is in this situation, and he's the only one that's about to do time. I don't know how he beats this case because it's too many people that's around him that were former employees. The racketeering part of it, you know, racketeering, let's look up the definition of racketeering real quick. And that's what he's charged with. Racketeering is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. That's racketeering. A set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. Doing crime with legitimate companies. That's racketeering. I don't know how Diddy beats that. You can't put people on planes with drugs and use the company credit card to pay for the flights. That's racketeering, dog. So for the people, it's like, what's the charge? How's Diddy? That's why. So let's get to what this guy is testifying about. Former Combs assistant Brendan Paul to testify today. So he takes the stand. Okay, we see what he's wearing. It says Combs assistant explains the 2024 cocaine arrest. Brendan Paul said he worked as an assistant to Combs from late 2022 after graduating college and stopped working for Combs when he was arrested. The day he was arrested, March 25, 2024. I bet you did. So he worked for Diddy up until the day he got arrested last year. Okay. So that kind of confirms that he confirmed, bro, I was an employee basically until I got caught. He said he was on his way to a family vacation with Diddy when he was arrested for possession of cocaine. So he was on his way to Diddy's house when he got arrested, according to his testimony. He said, it was in my go-yard bag for personal assistant duties. Basically, the drugs that he had, the drugs that he got caught on the plane with, I was taking those were for Diddy. He just said that on the stand. Paul said he was sweeping Combs' room and grabbed the cocaine to put it somewhere else, but forgot to remove it from his own bag before leaving for the trip. This reminds me of when y'all seen American Gangster with Denzel Washington and Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas is the character, right? Who's actually a real person, but in the movie, Denzel plays Frank Lucas, and his cousin get caught with the drugs in the car, and he go, that's all right, what they gonna do? Denzel say, all right, well, the police pull him over. All right, that's all right, what they gonna do? What they gonna do? Give us a ticket? And his cousin go, the drugs is in the car, Frank. And Denzel go, that's the same type of like, oh man, I forgot. Bro, what is you doing? So Buddy said, Brendan Paul said he was sweeping Combs' Diddy's room, and he grabbed the cocaine to put it somewhere else, but forgot to remove it from his bag before leaving for the family trip with Diddy. So that's the day he got arrested, right? Ooh, what happened? So he was explaining that arrest. He testified that he first heard about the opportunity to be Diddy's personal assistant from Ellie Maroon, one of Diddy's other former assistants. This is a quote from Brendan Paul. He said, he told me to get in, to get out. If you have a girlfriend, break up with her. You're never going to see your family again. That's kind of crazy. Like, bro, why would, what? I'm telling you, Diddy was running. Y'all think Suge Knight was bad. Diddy said, yo, this is a quote from this dude. Dude testified and said, Diddy told me to get in, to get out. If you have a girlfriend, break up with her. You're never going to see your family again in order to work for him. Paul testified that he understood Maroon was telling him that it was going to be a really tumultuous job that required a lot of his attention. Paul interviewed for the position in the fall of 2022 at Combs' Los Angeles home. Before entering the home, he said he gave his ID to Combs' security, and immediately signed a non-disclosure agreement. He said he then met with Christina Karam, Diddy's former chief of staff. That name keep coming up. I'm telling y'all, she's going to be the next one to testify, and we're going to be here to talk about it. So he met with Christina Karam, then he met with Frankie Santella, Combs' music manager, for about 20 minutes. Paul said he started working for Combs a few days later. In his first few weeks on the job, Paul said he worked out of Combs' LA home and mainly received instructions from other assistants. Paul said he divided assistant duties with other assistants. Paul testified he helped handle Combs' travel, logistics, and packing. He helped Diddy with his fitness workouts, his meal plans, and music-related needs. Paul also said he would pack Diddy's marijuana joints in his garage. So he was rolling blunts for Diddy, basically. He said he typically worked between 80 and 100 hours a week. He said he would usually work between 4 to 6 days a week. He was always on call. His salary was $75,000 a year. Later, he got a raise to $100,000 a year. These people, I don't know if it's because I don't know if I'm just jaded to money, but $75,000 a year for certain stuff, I don't know. Maybe that's good. All right. Let me just not go there. Dude said he testified that he was paid by Combs Enterprises. That's important. The government is trying to establish that Diddy paid everybody with the company credit card, with the company funds, because this is what's about to happen. Man, this is horrible. I actually do feel bad for Diddy's kids on some level. Some of the kids on this part. Because even in this article, the reason that they're giving us that update, the reason that that question is being asked specifically, who were you paid by? The government is trying to establish that you're paid by Combs Enterprises, so we can say, after Diddy is convicted, this is what the feds are going to do. After Diddy is convicted, they're going to say everything in Combs Enterprises and everything that Combs Enterprises owns is subject to being seized by the federal government because it was all illegal activity. It was all criminal activity. And because you were using this legal organization to fund a criminal organization, we have the right to seize it. And this is the part that people don't understand. It's a business on both sides. Like Diddy was conducting a business, but the feds are conducting a business as well currently. And they want to get their money back. This is an investment. Putting Diddy in jail is also an investment for the feds. Whether he's guilty or not, take that out of it for a second. It's an investment for them. Nobody's going to question what happens to Diddy's mansions after the feds seize it. They got a lot of overtime hours to pay for these employees that work this case. A lot of Homeland Security agents to pay for raiding Diddy's house. A lot of people that's been working on this case for however, I think they said they've been working on Diddy's federal case since 2008. It's a lot of man hours, a lot of time. They want a return on their investment. So when they seize all Diddy stuff, the mansions, the yachts, the luxury cars, the clothes, everything, they're going to seize that stuff. And his family is going to have to start from zero all over again. This is why in the Bible it says that the wicked's wealth is stored up for the righteous, or it also says for the one that pleases him, God has given wisdom, knowledge, and joy. But for the sinner, God has given the business of gathering and collecting, only to give to the one who does please God. Diddy has had the business of gathering and collecting his whole life, and he's going to have to give all that money back to the feds. And nobody's going to question it because it's the feds. Nobody's going to be like, yo, what did they do with his mansion? What were you going to do about it as people? So this is why they're trying to establish in Brendan Paul's testimony that you and everybody that they had get on the stand, everybody they subpoenaed, they're trying to establish, yes, you did do this. When we saw Capricorn Clark come and talk, she was another assistant that Diddy had, and she talked about how she went to Kid Cudi's house with Diddy and the car getting blown up and that whole thing. And they asked her, so were you in a company car? Yes, I was in the company. I was in a truck that Bad Boy Entertainment owns or Combs Enterprises owns. And then the cops got on the stand. Hey, did you run the plates on the truck that left the black SUV that left Kid Cudi's house? Did you run the plates? And they say, yes, we ran the plates. It was registered to Combs Enterprises. Like everything they're doing is trying to get it established that Combs Enterprises was a company, a legitimate company on paper that was funding illegal activity. So they could seize everything, get their money back. I'm just letting you guys know that. So they're establishing here, and by the way, even with the other assistants, they all testify, yes, I used the company credit cards to do this different stuff. Right? So Brendan Paul is on the stand. This is Diddy's alleged drug mule. He's testifying. He said that he got $75,000 a year. He then got a raise to $100,000 a year, and he was also paid. And he said he was paid through Combs Enterprises. So they were very specific about that. Paul said he traveled frequently for work. He flew with Diddy on his private jet 3 or 4 times, but he said he usually traveled separately so he could get there early to set up Diddy's rooms. He said, quote, so when you walked in, everything was seamless and he had everything he needed. Paul said sometimes other employees like stylists, photographers would travel early with him as well. When he traveled for work, Paul said Combs's travel manager would book his travel, and they're just establishing all the employees were paid under Combs Enterprises to do this illegal stuff. So just keep that in mind as we go through this stuff. Paul said the longest time period he worked without sleep was when they were in New York releasing Combs' latest album. Paul stayed awake for about 3 days straight, although he did take some naps in between. He said, quote, I was young, so I was able to handle it. Paul testified that he took prescription Adderall and the rare use of cocaine to help him stay awake and alert during his employment. Because you got to remember, one of Diddy's charges is like what was it? It was something about I can't remember exactly the charge. It was something about mistreating employees or something like that. So Paul said he also smoked marijuana during his employment. Paul previously invoked the Fifth Amendment on the stand and signed an immunity order compelling him to testify. Once you sign an immunity order, you have no choice to testify. You got immunity. Brendan Paul testified that his mission was to make sure that Diddy was always happy. He said that Diddy told his assistants they should operate like SEAL Team 6. Paul said Combs fired him 2 or 3 times, and he testified about one incident that sticks out specifically in his memory. In late October, early November 2023, Paul testified that he forgot Combs' Lululemon fanny pack when he wanted to go for a walk. That's when Diddy told Paul, I don't want to see your face. Call Christina Karam and tell her you're fired. Paul recalled that Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Karam, told him to lay low soon after she sent Paul to set up Combs' London hotel room around Combs' birthday. Diddy never discussed the incident with him again. Basically, Diddy was like, yo, you fired. Call Christina Karam. Tell me you fired. And she was like, look, bro, he just tripping. He high. Like, don't even say nothing. Just be quiet. Just do what I tell you to do. Don't say nothing to him. He gonna forget that he fired you because he high. Paul said it was also, Paul said it wasn't a thing to talk to HR about any issues. If anyone had an issue, they went straight to Diddy or straight to Christina Karam. Said there was no HR involved. Christina Karam and Diddy were the judge, jury, and executioner. He testified that he saw Diddy use drugs, including cocaine, ketamine, ecstasy, and marijuana about once a month, but there were other times that he seemed high. The jury saw a photo Paul took in his early employment. So I guess this dude, Brendan Paul, took a picture of ecstasy in the powder form of ketamine and Molly that was dyed pink for aesthetic. So that's where people are saying that's the pink cocaine I think people be talking about. He said he took a picture of it. He probably was in there in the early days. You know, you in there like, bro, I can't believe Diddy. Like, because you looking at Diddy from the public perspective. Then you start working for him. You like, man, wait a minute. This dude is he doing a lot of drugs. Like, bro, I can't believe he took a picture. Paul said that Diddy and other assistants would tell him to obtain drugs for Diddy. He testified that he would buy marijuana about every 2 months, paying $4,200 for 16 ounces. Let me go back to my street days and see if that's the right number. $4,200 for 16 ounces. Let me see. Let me do some math, man. I used to. Let me do some math. Let me go back to take me back. So he's paying about $2.62 an ounce. That's kind of crazy. That's out of. I'm from California, so you know, I don't smoke, but you know, I know the prices. He said he purchased the marijuana from Philip Pines. Dang, he telling everybody. Philip Pines, one of Combs' previous assistants. Paul said $2.60. Dang, he paying like $2.70 an ounce. For all my brothers in the chat that you still live that life. I pray that y'all get up out of that. But y'all know that's kind of crazy. Almost $300 an ounce for weed. Paul said that he bought other drugs for Combs fewer than 10 times. He testified that he would sometimes pay about $300 to $500 for 1 to 2 grams of drugs. And other times he would pick up packages without paying for them himself. So basically, dude was either going to pay for the drugs or he was picking up the drugs that was already paid for. On some occasions, he texted a drug dealer and they would come to Diddy directly to Diddy's home to deliver the drugs. The jury saw messages between Paul, a drug dealer, and another Diddy assistant named Jonathan Perez from February 2024. Paul testified that Perez put him in touch with the dealer to obtain drugs for Combs. In the text messages, the dealer said, "Is this for you or for Diddy?" Paul said it's for Diddy in response. And they read these messages aloud in court. He said, "But please don't disclose that. You could tell whoever it is, it's for me." Paul said once he received the drugs, he would give them directly to Diddy or put them in a Gucci pouch where the drugs were stored. Paul testified he would pick up prescription drugs for Combs at pharmacies under Diddy's real name or the alias Frank Black. So that was Diddy's alias. You know, Biggie Smalls called himself Frank White. Diddy calls himself Frank Black. I guess that's the alias that Diddy would use for picking up prescription drugs and other things. According to a lot of other testimonies during this trial, people were saying that was something that Diddy would call himself a lot in different situations. The jury saw messages between Diddy that Diddy sent to Paul asking him February 14, 2024 to get him Xanax. Paul testified that Combs did not have a prescription for Xanax, but he wasn't able to obtain the drugs. So Brendan Paul said that Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Karam, quote, didn't really want him involved in Wild King nights for some reason, but he set up and cleaned up a few times when he worked for Combs. Karam called them Wild King nights. So this is a recap of what Wild King nights were. So Jane, there was a Jane Doe that a lot of people were accusing. That's the woman that people were accusing of being 50 Cent's baby mom. We don't know, but that's what people were saying. She testified. She had a long testimony, and she talked about these wild king nights, and there were hotel nights and different things. And then somebody else came after her, and it was a guy, and he talked about the king nights. And these are things that would happen at hotels. So Brendan Paul was going to testify to his knowledge of this. So it says Paul testified his understanding of wild king nights were to include partying, alcohol, sex, drugs. The nights were at hotels during the beginning of his time with Diddy. He testified Combs stopped holding them at hotels after the Cassie lawsuit. And we know that Diddy was still doing the freakoffs literally until the day he got arrested. That Diddy got arrested sometime last September. And that day, they said that they found, and actually the hotel that Diddy was arrested at is now suing him, by the way, which is a whole nother thing. They're suing him, I believe, because he was going to have a freak off in their hotel room the day he was arrested. After they raided his houses, after all the crazy stuff happened, after all the running around and all the stuff, when everybody knew Diddy was getting these lawsuits, he was still having freak offs. That's how serious it was for him. And he got caught that day in the middle of it. So this is what dude is talking about right here. He said he stopped holding the hotel nights after Cassie's lawsuit hit. Let's see what else he's saying. He described how he would set up a room for Combs on a Wild King night. So he testified, Brendan Paul testified, that when he set up for a Wild King night, he would ensure he would ensure the room had baby oil, alcohol, small toiletries, and extra sheets and towels. He said the assistants shared a list that included all the items needed to set up for those nights. Paul said he often obtained supplies through Diddy's property managers. He said if he paid for supplies with his personal credit card, he was reimbursed through Combs's financial personnel. This is all, they just setting it up that, like I said, the financial part came through Diddy's legal company so they could say it was illegal business being conducted. Because we all know, especially with drug cases and things like that, we know that they're about to seize everything. They're about to freeze every account. All the money that Diddy's accounts have in it, everything is going to be freezed and seized. Paul said once he provided Diddy with $5,000 cash before a Wild King night, and he said he got the cash from security. He testified that another assistant told him he once left cash in an envelope at a front desk of a hotel. Paul said that Combs would sometimes contact him during a Wild King night via audio message or FaceTime. The jury saw photos of outfits from a sex shop that Paul sent to Combs. Paul testified that Combs had asked him to run to the store while he was with Jane Doe, but Combs never responded after Paul sent the picture of the outfits. Diddy freaky. Paul wore gloves to clean up after the hotel nights. Obviously, I would hope so, bro. He testified the rooms were in disarray, and he would put towels and sheets into a pile, throw out empty bottles of baby oil and liquor. Paul said he wore gloves during the cleanup for sanitary reasons. One time, Paul saw a white powder he believed was drug residue. The jury saw a photo of the hotel room with sheets covering the furniture. Paul testified that he sent the photos to Combs' travel manager, and this was to give her a heads up that there might be some damages charged to the room. The jury saw a selfie of Sean Diddy Combs and his former chief of staff, Christina Karam. I'm telling you, she keep coming up because they about to bring her to the stand. I'm telling y'all. The jury saw a selfie of Sean Diddy Combs and his former chief of staff, Christina Karam, and his former assistant, Brendan Paul, on a private jet taken March 25th, 2024, before Paul was arrested for the cocaine possession. It was that day. That's the day he was arrested. So he took a selfie with Diddy and Christina Karam that day. He said, it says right before he was arrested for cocaine possession at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport, it says they were about to take off on a flight to the Bahamas for a vacation with Diddy's family, Paul said. Paul testified he hasn't seen or spoken to Combs basically since that photo was taken. Paul didn't tell law enforcement that the cocaine wasn't his that day. When asked why he didn't snitch on Diddy that day, Paul said it was for loyalty. Paul testified that the charges against him related to the incident were dropped because, this is what he said, because I have a really good lawyer. Get the... Hey, why I'm laughing is because Man, I'll tell you guys, I teach business and I coach business now, and I've cleaned up my life a lot. But I come from the street, man. I come from poverty, and so there's a thing when we were young. It used to be like a joke in the hood that my lawyer's a beast, bro. When somebody come home from snitching, that's always they excuse. It's like, bro, no, you just snitched on half the hood. It has nothing to do with having a good lawyer. And they would come home. My lawyer's a beast. They'd be like, bro, didn't you just catch 2 bodies? How are you home already? My lawyer's a beast, bro. No, fool. You told on everybody. Anyways, they asked why his charges were dropped. He said, because I have a really good lawyer. Get out of here. Said he's completed over 20 drug classes and submitted a random drug testing. Bro, getting caught with cocaine at the airport is a federal crime. It ain't got nothing to do with you having a good lawyer. So now Diddy's lawyer is cross-examining this guy, Brian Steele. Brian Steele is the lawyer that was on Young Thug's trial as well. So Brian Steele asked Paul about his previous tenure on the Syracuse University basketball team. Paul confirmed that he works hard and strives for perfection. He said he was willing to work long hours for Diddy and learn from the exposure that he got to the music industry through Diddy. He confirmed that handling drugs was a minor part of all the work that he did for Combs. He said, Brian Steele asked, so you were not some drug mule, right? Paul said, absolutely not. Paul said that he believed the drugs he obtained were just for Combs' personal use. Steele asked if Paul thought Wild King nights were also personal for Combs. Asking him if you're some drug mule, that's all connotations and speculative. Like, bro, he may not feel like a drug mule, but if you're running around getting drugs, picking up packages, making drug deals on behalf of Diddy, for Diddy, you're a drug mule, bro. We going off of legal definitions, and Brian still know that. He just got to defend his client. Paul said that he believed the drugs he obtained were just for Diddy's personal use. Steele asked Paul if he thought Wild King nights were also personal for Combs. He said, I considered it to be like an escape. He confirmed that he believed it was Combs' personal time to be alone with Jane. Paul testified that he often spoke with Jane, the Jane Doe, one of Combs' accusers, before the King nights, almost every time afterwards. He confirmed that he never saw anything that made him feel like she was hesitant or not willing to participate. Why would he, though? During cross-examination, Diddy's lawyer asked him about the arrest on March 25th, 2024. Paul confirmed his arrest was for a small amount of cocaine for Combs' personal use, that Paul had accidentally left it in his travel bag. Neither Combs nor Christina Karam asked him to travel with the cocaine that day. Paul recalled telling law enforcement that everything in the bag was his. Then his heart dropped when the agent pulled the cocaine out of the bag because he didn't mean to travel with it. So on one hand, it's like bro talking out both sides of his neck. Yeah, it was for Diddy, but Diddy didn't ask me to bring it. Like, bro, what? So the former assistant for Diddy said if he would ever work for, Diddy's lawyer asked the former assistant if he would have ever worked for a criminal. Paul testified absolutely not. Still asked Paul if he felt indebted to Combs for all the experiences he received while working for him. He said, I guess. What you mean by indebted? Still asked Paul if he had learned a lot from Combs, and Paul confirmed, yeah, I learned a lot from him. He then asked Paul if he had good experience working for Diddy. He said, for the most part. The cross-examination ended. On a redirect, the U.S. attorney, the prosecutor, asked Brendan Paul if he believed or what he believed was taking place during the Wild King nights. He said there was sex happening and partying. Paul confirmed that he was not present in the hotel rooms, so he did not know definitively if anything illegitimate was happening. He said, sitting here today, how do you feel about Mr. Combs? Brendan Paul said, it's complicated. Yeah, it's complicated because Buddy ain't come get you from jail when it was time to get you from jail. You have to pay that on your own. Anyways, let me see if that was the. Yep. So after he was asked what he felt about Diddy, he said it was complicated, and that was the end of his testimony. So that's everything that this guy said. And I believe Christina Karam is going to be the next person called to the stand. Let's see some of the other things that's going on. I think that the huge lesson in this is just, bro, I think Diddy got bored with his money, man. I'm gonna be real, man. I don't know. Because what could you possibly be having 6 assistants doing all the same thing? Like, I don't know, man. This is a crazy situation. Cuba Gooding Jr. came forward and said he's praying for Diddy. I thought, like, bro, you need Cuba Gooding got to just relax, bro. Don't put no spotlight on yourself. So I thought that was funny. Let's get to this audio real quick, because before we run out of time, I would have dove into that topic a little deeper, but I want to get to this audio that came out with Cassie real quick and see what you guys think about it. It came out yesterday. I'm gonna play it. It ain't nothing nasty or nothing like that. It's just her threatening to kill somebody. So I want to kind of see what you guys think about this. Check this out. Hold on. Get this ready for you guys. It says audio of Cassie allegedly threatening to kill an escort released to the public. That's what the article says. Let's see what they're talking about.
If you don't show me right now, I will kill you and I will hide you and I will cut you up and put you in the dirt right now. Pull it up. If you have it, pull that up. Because if not, I'm going to kill you and then he's going to kill you again. So just do it. Pull that up right now. You got that? Pull that up. I'm going to kill you. You don't understand. I don't give a I've never killed anybody in my life, but I will kill you because you're with me. You're with me in my life right now. If I saw a video of you doing anything that you didn't want people to see, I would show you the video so you could tell me what the happened. You're playing games with me, telling me you saw some. Now you're saying you.
Can y'all hear that?
You're with me. I'm going to you up. I don't think you understand. And it's not going to be my hands, and it's not going to be blood on my hands. Someone else is going to do it. So you have to tell me right now, and I'm recording this whole shit. FYI, tell me what the you're talking about. Because this is not cool. We're not playing. I'm not playing with you, Sujit. Like, you saw some yes, you're my brother. Be my brother and tell me what you saw. You're going to be able to find.
So, in my opinion, that's how I think most. For the first part of it, I was like, most women are gonna react like that. I will kill you, I'll kill you. All right, cool. Like most women, you get they tape and you holding on to it, you trying to be funny, they probably react like that. I thought the part that was kind of crazy though was I'm gonna do it and then he gonna do it again. And or the end of that when she was like, you know, I ain't even gonna ain't gonna be no blood on my hands. Like, oh, you very aware. But Cassie not on trial. Diddy on trial. You get what I'm saying? And all these people are getting immunity to testify against Diddy. Yes, I was doing. She got on the stand. She said, "Yes, I'm doing the freakoffs. Yeah, I'm part of that." But he hired me. He's on trial. So I get it that people are like, "Yo, Cassie's not innocent." I never felt that Cassie was innocent. I don't think she's no innocent lamb. I think she was a part of this. At some point, I do believe she's a victim of some of this stuff too, as well. I think both things are true. But she's not on trial. He on trial. And it don't matter what comes out about her, she got immunity. So people got to kind of keep that in mind. And you know, it's interesting because back then, everybody, like 50 Cent had Cassie's tape. And he called Diddy. Did you guys see? Let me show you this. 50 Cent previously spoke about when he got Cassie's freak off tape in 2010. And he called in and he said that he called Diddy and kind of let him know what was going on. Check this out right here. I don't know if you guys ever caught this, but I thought this was interesting. This is 50 Cent talking back then. This is an old audio. Check it out.
I don't know. I know. Check this out. On the up and up, the fuck like he called, we should kick it on the telephone and after the main.
Right.
And the nigga be like, matter of fact, that they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like not the that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
Wow. Oh, you kidding me, up?
Like penetration pictures and
Nah, come on, man. Come on, Phil.
all that, and I called the nigga. I said, yo, you with this girl? Like, you really, like, you like her like that? And he was like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send you something. You look at it, you call me back. I sent him the photos, the pictures and everything. And the nigga called back and was like, yo, thanks, man. Yo, I really appreciate that. Yo, where you get these shits from? And I said, you know, like, because they know, like, if something crazy is going on, if they send it to me, I'll make sure it get out there. Like, as far as this 50.com is concerned.
Yeah, yep.
And those other properties. So they sent it to me. But, you know, I really kind of felt like those photographs were not happening because of Cassie. I felt like they was happening because of Puffy.
So I'm not going to go with what.
So that's what 50 said when he found out. This is decades ago, almost 2 decades ago, when 50 found out about the freakoffs and all that stuff. This is why when 50 is talking, he's speaking low key from what he knows. It's insider information. Like, bro, I know about this because I was there. That's how 50 be talking. And I thought that was crazy because this has been going on for so long. That's probably why Diddy was just so arrogant and felt like, bro, you know how arrogant you got to be when you get to the point that you just hiring people just for this type of stuff? Using your legitimate organization. I'm a business owner. Some of you guys are business owners. Some of you guys have employees. I have employees. When you get to the point where it's like, yo, I'm just hiring people to go pick up drugs for me and putting them on $100,000 salary, and this is what you do for me. You clean up my freakoffs and you pick up drugs. That's a different level of arrogance. To think that nothing's gonna happen, you could just get away with that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Ain't nobody untouchable. You know what I'm saying? I think that I do think that there is a reason that Diddy is the one that's handpicked out of the bunch. Because I think that this is going on a lot. I would assume that this is going on a lot in the industry. But it don't matter. It's like when we all speeding down the freeway and the cop pulled me over. I can't be like, yo, everybody's speeding. You know what a cop gonna say? But I caught you. How do I know? Because I've been in that situation. I didn't say everybody's speeding, but it's like, bro, I was going the flow of traffic. Yeah, but I caught you. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the situation. And unfortunately for Diddy, everybody around him is taking plea deals or getting immunity to testify against him. I don't know how he beats this case. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he beats this case. I think that we should jump in the community hour right now. This is where we talk about the entertainment news topic from the entrepreneur perspective. This is where we talk about the lessons that we could take with us from these topics instead of just looking at them to be entertained. And a huge lesson that I see when I look at this Diddy situation is just we always, at any point in business, no matter how successful you become in business, always remain in the space of these blessings have to be managed properly. I think the arrogance comes when you start believing that the things that you were blessed with are yours and not blessings that you're supposed to use for a purpose. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. I teach business, by the way. I coach people specifically on how to get clients, get more customers. And you can check us out on ulegend.com, ulgnd.com. You see it at the bottom of the screen. So we come here and we talk about these things from these perspectives because I think there's learning lessons in all this for all of us to take in our life. Whether you run a business, whether you work a job, whatever it is, there's lessons in this stuff, man. The arrogance that man moved through life with, we just watched. I was just talking about Dame Dash, right? And Dame Dash is unfortunately going through a lot financially. He's losing a lot of stuff. And I never laugh at calamity of other people because it could always be you. You think it can't be you. It can always be you. You know what I'm saying? But I also look at it like, man, the Bible does say pride go before the fall, haughty spirit, or pride go before destruction, a haughty spirit before the fall. Haughty means arrogant. You know what I'm saying? Pride destroys. Arrogance causes falls. And when you look at these situations and a lot of these people that get caught up in these situations, you think because you have money that is going to be able to translate to freedom, like to you doing whatever you want. And listen, here's a lesson, man. We don't have freedom, we have liberty. There is a big difference between the two. Freedom is I just do whatever I want. Liberty is I can do things under a system. I can move how I want under the rules and regulations of the system. People think it's a free country. No, it's a liberated country. And if you start doing things outside of the realm of liberty and start thinking that you have freedom and autonomy, you're going to get caught up. I always tell this parable because my grandma taught it to me. I thought it's such a powerful lesson. God rest her soul. It's one of the greatest things she's ever taught me. She talks about success, and she says success is like going to the beach. And sometimes the devil put us on a paddle boat and start rowing us into the ocean. And we laughing and we singing and we think we having all the great time. We at the beach, we on the ocean, the devil rowing us, he paddling us. And you paddling and he paddling and you singing and you laughing, you closing your eyes and you dancing. And then you get to the middle of the ocean. And the devil snatches the paddles, jumps in the speedboat and runs and speeds off. And you just stuck in the middle of the ocean with no paddles. And you so far out there, you don't even know which way shore is. You don't know where the sand is anymore. And the sand represents God's will for your success. Why God gave you. This is what God wants for you. He wants you to go to the beach, sit on the sand, and look at all the beauty of what he gave you. The ocean represents sin. And the devil is paddling you out into the middle of sin. So we get success, we get to the beach, and we in the middle of that water. We start going into the middle of that water when God never intended for us to be in the middle of that water. But we doing what we want to do, paddling. And then you get left out there because when it all falls down, when it all hit the fan, the devil ain't going to be right there next to you. Diddy, you got to sit in jail. Right? The ocean represents sin. We paddle out into the middle of our own sin. And when you get caught out there, you realize like, dang, sometimes we get so far out there, we don't even know how to get back. What do I do? Where do I go? I don't have no paddles. I got to swim. I got to push this boat with my hands and find my way. I don't even know which direction to go in. How did I get this far out here? How many of us have been in that situation? I have in my life where it's like, dang, man, I don't even know how my life ended up this messed up. And you got to figure out a way to fix it. Now, my grandma would say it's not impossible to get back to the shore, but it's really hard when you don't have them paddles. It's really hard when you don't know what direction to start paddling in. It's not impossible, but it's hard. Some people never make it back. That's the way it goes, man. So be conscious of that. And when I'm teaching you guys these things, I teach business from a biblical perspective because I think there's so much wisdom in the Bible when it comes to business. 2,500 verses in the Bible, it's about 2,350 verses are about money. Jesus taught 16 to 38 parables about money. So I love teaching business from that perspective because that's what it's there. So when the Bible says, when I reference that and I say, the Bible says, Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 26, I believe. It says, for the one who pleases him, God has given wisdom, knowledge, and joy. For the sinner, though, God has given the business of gathering and collecting only to give to the one who does please God. Sometimes we see people that are very successful that they look like they're having fun because they done paddled their boat into the ocean and they singing and dancing and laughing. And it looks like, man, look how much fun they having. I want to live like that. Man, they paddling in the ocean of sin. Don't be jealous of that. That's why we're not supposed to covet. That's why we're not supposed to be jealous of other people's stuff because you don't know what them people, first of all, you don't know who gave them that. You don't know if that blessing is from God or from the devil. That's number one. Two, you don't know what they're doing to keep it or what they're doing with it while they have it. You think that they have wisdom, knowledge, and joy, but they may just have the business of gathering and collecting. So don't ever get covetous. Don't ever look at people and be like, man, I wish, man, if I could just live like Diddy. You know how many people would have said that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Man, I'm just trying to get like Diddy, man. I just got to. Are you willing to take the curses that come with those alleged blessings? Because right now, Diddy don't want to be Diddy. Promise you. Promise you he don't. Promise you he probably wished, man, I wish I could do something if I could go back. It's very easy to get in trouble. Very hard to get out of it. So be conscious of that for all my entrepreneurs that's listening. Be conscious of that for all my professionals that's listening, my business professionals. Hey, you making some money? You doing good? Don't start what Mike Tyson say? Mike Tyson say, go home with the girl you took to the dance. Don't start doing things that you wouldn't have done prior to. I believe that money and success, money and power, it amplifies who you are. I do believe that, but I do believe it changes some people as well. I know some people say money don't change nobody. It only amplifies. I believe that partially that's true. By the grace of God, I've been able to acquire a lot of money. I've been able to run some successful businesses, have some great investments, and have a lot of millionaire friends as well as being a millionaire. So I have access to see different types of people from different walks of life. So I see it both ways. And I can come back. It's like I can come back from over this hill and come back to you guys and say, hey, this is what's going on. Some of you guys are successful as well watching. So you guys know what I'm saying is very factual. Some people, yes, the money, it amplified who they are. They were already jerks before they got the money. They're bigger jerks with the money. But some people, when they get the money, it allows them to become the person that covers up the deficiency they had when they were younger or something they went through in their life. I was just telling my assistant, she was judging somebody. She was like, I just think that they stupid for doing this. And I'm like, look, man, never call nobody stupid for their decisions, because their circumstances, their experiences is what made them make that decision. If you had that person's same experience and you went through the same things 9 times out of 10, you would be that person. Something in everybody makes them do everything that they're doing. Something in you makes you make the decisions that you make. For example, I'll use myself as an example. Why it was so important for me to get rich. Why it was so important for me to have that kind of ambition. I was just telling somebody, the more ambitious I became, the more I healed, the less ambitious I became. The more that I healed, the less ambitious I became. Why? Because I'm not in survival mode anymore. The reason that I was so ambitious early on in my life, trying to make millions of dollars and hustle and do all this different stuff, and that's not a normal thought process. Most people will be happy with a good job. The reason that I had that in me is because of the things that I lacked when I was a child. Not that my parents did a great job, but there was moments. For example, I wanted to go play football for Texas Christian University. My the school sent me and my family tickets to come. I had an official visit. They sent me the tickets for the game to come to one of the football games. And they said, once you get here, we'll pay for the hotel. We'll pay for everything. We'll take you around campus. We'll show you everything. But you have to pay for your own flights. My parents couldn't afford to pay for the flights. We didn't have much at that time. That in me, that moment, I said, I'll never be in a situation where me nor any of my children can ever not have an opportunity because I don't have the money to get them there. I was in the hood too. I needed to go. I ended up going to jail like 4 months later. Changed my life. It didn't ruin it, but it changed my life. It put me on a different path. So everybody has something that they're going through or that they've been through in their past that makes them who they are. So even when I look at these situations in entertainment news, that's why I tell you guys, there's always something to learn from this. Because you have to be able to identify what have you gone through in your past that makes you feel that way. My assistant, she was saying that, she always feels the need to take care of her friends and take care of everybody, even financially or just physically being there for them or whatever. And I said, well, what about, or even for their children, right? And I said, what about you makes you feel like you're responsible for somebody else's children? Like, what makes you feel that way? I don't know. I don't, and I said, well, you should identify that. It's not just, of course, especially when the thing doesn't make sense, right? Like, this doesn't benefit you. This doesn't help you. Why do you feel the need to do this? Like, everybody has that. We all have that. There's all something we can identify about ourselves that say, this is a part of my personality. I don't even know why I do this. This is just what I do. But when you get self-aware and you're able to identify, you should at least be able to identify so you know why you are the way you are. Something in you is like that. Something in Diddy is like that. Why do you feel the need to have power over everybody? Were you bullied growing up? Did people make you feel like you had no power? You had no say-so? I know Diddy's dad was from the street and his mom, I guess, as well. Did you feel like you had to create your own reputation of power because who your father was? Did you always feel small under his shadow? There's something in his past that made him who he is. R. Kelly, look at R. Kelly. He said that his sister, I think they said his sister allegedly, or his auntie or somebody allegedly was touching him when he was a kid. His mom, he used to, y'all seen the interview. R. Kelly said he used to take his mom's drink and put his lips on the lipstick ring where she left a ring of lipstick on her drink. He would put it there and pretend he was kissing his mom. Like something, there's always something there that's weird. And it doesn't justify what these people do as adults, because as a child, I thought as a child, when I became a man, I put away childish things. And we're all responsible for our trauma and dealing with it, because everybody has trauma. Everybody don't do these type of things. But it's just important to note, man, everybody didn't went through something, bro. That's just having empathy. I don't have sympathy for these people, but I have empathy to say, bro, you went through something. And I have empathy for you guys to say the same thing. So a lot of us, we're going to have success, especially if you watch this channel. I hope that you're going to have all the, and if you're a client with me over at ulgnd.com, ulegend.com, you're going to have success. But it's important to note who we are before we have the success, so we don't end up in situations that we didn't have to go through because we just weren't self-aware. You know how many people out there chasing followers, trying to build their platforms up just because they feel a deficiency in love? You feel like you didn't get the attention that you deserved as a child, or you didn't get the attention that you deserved even as a young adult. So now all you do is try to go viral every day because you want the world to love you. And you don't even care. You know how many people don't even care that they're not making no money off of going viral, which they're not. Mr. Viral right here, over 1 billion views on TikTok, hundreds of millions of views on Instagram, 4 you monetize YouTube channels. I'm Mr. Viral. But I look at it. I look at my contemporary peers, go, dang, you go viral every day. You don't even make no money. They all come to me and say, can you coach me on how to make money going viral? Because they have these deficiencies. And that's what we do at my company. We teach people how to create content that actually converts into clients, right? And not just creating content for the sake of creating content or doing views. If you're doing 1,000 views, we can teach you how to get how to get clients, right? But they come to me because they go, you actually have money. We all going viral, but you actually you're actually successful. But everybody has a deficiency. Some people are just comfortable with it. Like, man, I just want to get attention. I'm cool with that. If I get famous, I'm good. No money, just famous. Makes no sense to me. But that's the world we live in. So just take account of those things. We're running out of time. Take note of those things. God bless you guys, man. I hope that you guys learned something from this. I hope that you guys are inspired, entertained, educated, informed, whatever it is. But I don't want you to just be entertained, because I never want to just be a distraction to your day. I always want to be a blessing to your day. So I hope that you're not just entertained by this. I hope that you're informed or educated or inspired. Get out there, man. Go chase success. Go get your own success. But make sure that you manage it properly. And make sure that you take inventory of who you are before you start doing the things. So when you do have the days of your success, you won't be in the paddle boat on the ocean, paddling out there with Satan, and then he snatch them and leave you out there by yourself, and you got to figure out how to get back by yourself. I really want you guys to get everything God has for you. God bless you guys. If you're not in the ULegend community, go over to the website and join the ULegend community. If you want to have conversations with me, if you want to talk to me personally, you guys know we offer that. I want to encourage you guys to go join our From Stuck to Seven Figures. This is probably the last day that is going to be free, that you can watch this live event where we teach you to take 4 steps to turn your purpose into profit. You're going to find the perfect business idea for you, find your purpose in life, and you're going to turn it into a profitable business by watching this live stream. It's the last day that you can watch it for free. So I'm giving you guys the opportunity to go check it out. Join our ULegend community. If you want to get direct access to me, if you want to get our entrepreneur networking sessions, our trainings, different things like that we offer over there, the community conversations, go join the ULegend community. And we got some new stuff coming today that I'm going to be announcing tomorrow. So that's all I got for you guys. The website scrolling down here at the bottom of the screen. It's also going to be pinned in the comments. I hope that you guys go out there and achieve everything God has for you. I'll see you guys tomorrow on tomorrow's live stream or the next day. Until then, God bless you guys, and make sure you stay encouraged. See you next time.